Yeah, hey, folks, that's right. As the music announced me, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, at approximately 12:35 a.m. Monday morning, 11 November the 11th. Your Houston Texans go down to defeat after a 52-yard field goal by Bates with 4 seconds left on the clock, and go down to defeat to the Detroit Lions tonight on Sunday Night Football, a primetime game. The Texans had it all in their hands, and guess what? It got kicked away from them. And they never should have been in this position in the first place, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the Detroit Lions are a very good, solid football team. However, if I told you that the Houston Texans will have 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interceptions, and still lose this game, you would find you would be incredulous, and you would just say, "No, it was a nightmare. It was a dream." Well, we wish it was a dream, but it's not. They actually, the Detroit Lions, 5 turnovers. Jared Goff, they picked off Jared Goff 5 times tonight, but the Texans did not account for all the miscues and make them pay for it. They did not. In fact, one of the turnovers wound up into a field goal. Again, that's how I've always stated. When you have turnovers, you need to make them count. You need to make them count as touchdown. Field goals are not fine and dandy. And in this case, it still would have been a 1-point difference if that being the case for the night, far as the Detroit Lions were concerned. Even though they went for 2 on a touchdown and failed in the third quarter. But the fact of the matter remains, the Houston Texans gave up 19 unanswered points in the second half. Now, don't mean to belittle your sleep or belie what the circumstances. Anytime you have 5 turnovers, football is a game of turnovers. And when you win the turnover battle, 99% of the time you should win the ball game, except this time they didn't. And in fact, they should have won this game. This is going to a string of other games that the Texans have played. If they played solid football all the way through, it would have been a different outcome. Nobody had. And here's the thing about it: nobody picked the Texans to win this game tonight on the Sunday night. The whole crew, everybody. The Detroit Lions will come in here and mop up the Houston Texans as if the Texans was a motley crew or a lowly motley crew. Yeah, they're 6-4 now, but the thing about it, the Texans have played decent football, not outstanding football, some complimentary football, but they were still 6-3 coming into the contest tonight. And nobody on the Sunday night crew, nobody had given the Texans a chance. Well, of course, the Texans had given themselves, and that was proven by the fact that the Texans, got 5 turnovers tonight. But I'm going straight to the coach, because you can't make this up, folks. You just can't. You can't make
5 turnovers. I think that's a big day for any defense. But the thing about turnovers is, what are you doing with those turnovers? And it's getting the points off of the turnovers. That's how you swing the game. And I don't think we got enough points off of the turnovers. But proud of the guys for that's a really good offense, and our guys played well. That's down the stretch there. We just let some plays out that that we have to play better.
Play better. Play calling. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Coach. There are some things down the stretch that, and I coming down the stretch, Texans, when they had about 158 left on the clock. I looked over to my colleagues to my right there in the press box, and they got to the point, and I looked at a couple of I call bedazzled play calling, some runs that went nowhere. And I just thinking out loud, they aren't playing for a field goal, are they? They just gonna get it down there and let Kymie Fairbairn come in and go like boot. Okay, we get the field goal, but yet you still leaving time on the clock. Lo and behold, and they looked at me like like I had four heads on my shoulders, and I'm going like, no, and they like, no, they're not playing for. Then somebody, I was, was rudely corrected. Yeah, they playing for the field goal. Okay, then Kyrie Fairbairn come in, who had already hit a 58-yarder, come in wide left. That was at 158, folks. Then that basically gave the ball back to the Detroit Lions at the 40-yard line, and you can about imagine what happened. The Detroit went back, kept the ball, made the Texans use up all their timeouts, got themselves in position. Bates hits a 52-yard field goal with 4 seconds left on the clock. The Detroit Lions leave NRG Stadium. Your Houston Texans are walking around in shock, anguish, and excuse the expression, pissed off, because there is no way you gonna tell me that the Texans got 5 turnovers, and you still lose this game. There's no rhyme and reason. There's no reason. Offensively, there needs to be some soul searching going on now. Not only some soul searching, somebody need to start doing something different with the play calling, because I can tell you what now, I don't want to see this stupid end around. Wherever you found that end around play, everybody has seen it enough. They know the end around become where you line up before you start running the play. Put it away. Bobby Slowick, you need to go back. Whoever the quality control for the Houston Texans from an offensive perspective standpoint, somebody needs to start checking some people on their play calling, their play selection. Somebody needs to start checking them. Hey, folks, here's a stat that's just going to blow your mind. The Houston Texans have not scored a second half touchdown since week 6. That was against the New England Patriots. Let me repeat that again. The Houston Texans have not scored a second half touchdown against an opponent since week 6, and that was against the New England Patriots. They did not score one tonight. They did not score one against New England. They didn't score one against the Indianapolis Colts. Folks, there's something wrong. When you have this type of turnover activity that your defense generates for you, and all of a sudden you putting up maybe a touchdown, and that maybe 2 touchdowns out of 5 turnovers, and then you get one of those turnovers. Oh, by the way, you got a field goal from it. Oh, by the way, one of those turnovers, you turn around and throw an interception into the red zone. In fact, you got an interception. It's not enough air on it. CJ didn't put enough air on the ball to Tank Dell, and so you starting to really scratch your head. I read some comments that they said that CJ Stroud is suffering from a sophomore, coming from the sophomore disease. I'm not thinking. No, I'm gonna disagree with that. I mean, what he's suffering from is he's spending more time on the turf than he is standing up, because had 8 sacks this past week, several sacks the week prior to that, and so we've had issues with the offensive line. I thought that the offensive line, as it was constituted tonight, Jared Patterson started at center at center tonight. Scruggs moved over to left guard against Laramie Tunsil. For the most part, first half, I thought that they acquitted themselves quite well. Only a couple of sacks as far as CJ was concerned tonight. John Mechie, young man who had battled back, he first drafted and then had to deal with, a recovering cancer victim, scored his first NFL touchdown tonight. Now, the reason being, Nico Collins was even though he was elevated off the injury reserve list, he was a scratch tonight, no go. Obviously, no Stephon Diggs not here. CJ Stroud has got to be able to evolve and develop some cohesiveness and some chemistry with Mechie, with Xavier Hutchinson. Tank Dell is still there, but guess what, folks? Eric Glenn and I guarantee you this, with the corners that the way the Detroit Lions corners was playing tonight, they weren't worried about it. They basically just they weren't gonna wasn't nobody say one thing about it. You have no Nico Collins, you have no Stroud. Stephon Diggs. And as far as they were concerned, with the corners that the Detroit Lions had tonight, they were determined that Tank Dell was not going to beat them tonight, and he didn't. But I think that comfortability that CJ has with him. But you got to be able to start spreading the ball around. In fact, I know John Mechie was the leading receiver tonight, targeted and everything. As I stated, he got his first touchdown. Joe Mixon tonight scored a touchdown after one of the turnovers. But Joe comments were about John Mechie and his performance tonight. Here's why I want to hear Joe Mixon about John Mechie.
I thought that he did a great job today, and shout out to Mitch. He blocked his ass off. He ran hell of a routes, and he stepped up in a big way when we needed him. We just obviously at different positions, we needed that same thing, and as a collective group, we just fell short, and that's just what it was.
Yep, you're right. You fell short tonight, Joe Mixon. Oh, by the way, the Detroit Lions, Mechie was going for his fifth game record. He was looking to set up for a 100-yard game. Detroit Lions weren't having it tonight. They pretty well they came in here with the determination to shutting the run down. Okay, fine. But if you can't get the run going, then the pass game was there. It was erratic at best. No cohesiveness, no consistency. It sputtered. And so obviously when you come back in the second half and when they had opportunity to really put this, I think as far as I'm concerned, CJ Stroud tried to hit Tank Dell in the end zone. I believe it was Tank in the end zone, and they picked it off in the end zone. And from after that turnover, right there, the second interception, that was it. The Texans defense had to go out there and really play more snaps, time of possessions, and so here's let me put it like this. I don't try to play a lot of stats, but the Texans had the ball 5 minutes more than the Detroit Lions tonight, folks. But I'm not to sound like a neurotic, a neurosis or some, but I just cannot get this out of my head that the Texans defense had 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions. They intercepted Jared Goff 5 times, and you still lose the game. This game never should have been close. It should have been a blowout. But from the offensive side, the Texans are woefully lacking that instinct to put teams away. If you consider yourself a championship caliber team, and when you get these you're supposed to put these teams away. You're supposed to make it difficult. And offensively speaking, the Texans defense done their job. Obviously, you win as a team, you lose as a team. There's no score up there for the Texans defense and no score up there for the Texans offense. It just says Houston Texans. They play offense, defense, and special teams. And 1/3 of it showed up tonight. And the special team version of it showed up some as well. I do not put this game on Ka'imi Fairbairn. I know he's on that 58-yard field goal because they never should have been in that position to have to be kicking a field goal that late in the game to try to win a ball game. They never should have not after creating 5 turnovers and you still playing for your life, trying to get ahead and try to win a ball game. This never should have happened. Never. Under no circumstances should the Houston Texans been trying to win a ball, trying to go ahead at 158 in the contest in the fourth quarter. But they found themselves in the situation, and when the pressure got tight around the collar, things went haywire. Okay, things went haywire, and they did not meet the challenge. The Houston Texans did not answer the bell when they should have. And a couple of guys, Jimmy Ward, and them was talking about this was sort of like a championship type atmosphere tonight. Yeah, that's what happens, because when if this has been the playoffs, guess what? The Detroit Lions move on. The Houston Texans go home and wash their uniform. Fortunately, they don't have. Fortunately, this was just a regular season game, because a week from tonight, Monday morning, a week from tonight, Texans get a chance to go up to AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, and they get to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who was blistered today by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, some folks say, "Oh well, that should be." There are no gimmies in the NFL, folks, nowhere. And but again, I'm sounding like a broken record, a tied broken record, a tied digital recording that's stuck on fire. The fact that you had 5 turnovers and you still lose a game tonight that you had in your hand. It literally, you had this ball game in your hands, and you should have got the victory tonight. Yes, Detroit Lions are a good, solid ball club. Yes, Aaron Glenn, Texan, former had, Aaron Glenn, they came with some nice defensive schemes to slow down Joe Mixon and the like. But I think the adjustments that they made for the second half, there was no countering to their adjustments, and where they can go ahead and take this game and seal it. They didn't do it. And so as it stands now, that's a lot of head scratching going on here in NRG. It should be some soul searching, head scratching, and it's imperative that they get this ship righted correctly, because if not, the Texans could be quickly one and done if they make the playoffs. And I said if. They are a playoff caliber team, but not playing like this. You don't just sit there and take gifts like this and then turn around, and after you work hard to create the turnovers and the mismatches, you have to make those turnovers pay. This never should have been a contest tonight, where the Detroit Lions should be going back home on a flight going back to Detroit on a happy plane ride. It should be some despondent, disparaged Lions, but it's not. They having a field ride. They having a field day flying back. But the Houston Texans are already gone. Dressing rooms closed, and so they are done. All right, folks. I can beat this horse anymore. I mean, I really could. I can continue to beat this horse, because I think defensively that was more than enough for this team to win. They didn't win. So that's it. It's in the books. The Detroit Lions came in, beat the Houston Texans 26-23. 52-yard field goal by Bates. And then he kicked the Texans' butt right out of their own home field on prime time, what a whole nation could see. And when the opportunity was there for really just to make a statement, this should have been a statement ball game tonight for the Houston Texans. It wasn't. And I'm not saying that finger pointing needs to start, but I think some serious, some soul searching needs. Some people need to start looking at each other in the mirror and looking at themselves in the mirror and figure out what the devil is going on. You got weapons. You still have weapons there, and you need to exploit those that you have, or at least trying to put them in the position where they can be effective against the opponent. And I think that's what's not happening now. I don't want to hear about the injuries. I know guys are not here. Everybody has injuries now at this time of the year. But the better teams figure out the way next man up, and next man have to prove that they worthy to be out there on the field. And so until the Houston Texans can do that effectively, it's going to be some more dismal days for the Houston Texans. So as I get ready to wrap it up and we'll get out of here, it's early in the morning. I appreciate it. Oh, by the way, hey, if you have not subscribed to the Ad Max Corner YouTube channel, and if anybody's up at this time, I appreciate that you are. And if you have not, please subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, please do so. Hey, I'm going to shut it down, folks. It's time for me to get on the road and get to the La Hacienda and lay my head down for a few 40 winks, and because I got to get back up in the morning to get with it. But anyway, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, signing off. Again, Houston Texans got booted by the Detroit Lions. 52-yard field goal, 4 seconds left on the clock, and they lose. Even after having 5 turnovers tonight, the Texans lost the ball game. But you know what? That's next week. Let's go ahead and get this one behind us and see what they can do next week against the Cowboys in prime time on Monday Night Football, because Sunday Night Football didn't work well for them at all. Hey, folks, I'm out of here. Ciao, I'm out. I'll talk at you later I'll be talking from next week from Jerry's World. Without further ado, I'm gone, folks. Take care.